Transitioning from OEM to brand creator. Now this is thoughtful. Hello, I'm Kitty Boo in Shanghai. Over the past 30 years, China has grown into the world's manufacturing hub thanks to the successful efforts of local equipment manufacturers, or OEMs, producing goods for international brands. In the last few years, however, rising production costs in China have made the manufacturing business model less profitable, offering lower margins and a decrease in productivity. As a result, more and more OEM companies are seeking to break down their sweat factories by shifting into original brand manufacturers, or OBMs, and starting their own brands with great emphasis on R&D innovations, design, brand marketing, and communication activities. This week on Thoughtful, our panelists Tessa Feenstra, Benoit Garb, and Alexis Carval will look at challenges involved in this transition from OEM to OBM and identify both the risks and rewards on both sides. And Viveka Chen, CEO, We Marketing Group, will share a thought or two about how to create Chinese brands. But first with us in the studio today is Ian Wu Jingwen, Brand Director at Singlet. Ian, thanks for joining us today. Ian 你好，我们想首先请您介绍一下申迪光电这家公司。
过去的17年里面，申迪基本上已经奠定了自己在照明领域一个比较领先的一个地位。那么从3年前开始，我们在想，也许智能家居这一块会是一个全新的领域。我们开始做一些市场的调研，以及我们的这个产品的研发，以及说我们一些专利的申请。那么到今年的6月份开始，申迪一方面是 launch 了我们新的品牌，我们的Singlet， 包括说这个我们的整个的品牌的定位。那么另一方面呢，我们也 launch 了我们的新的产品 Singlet Pulse 和 Singlet Boost。我们其实目前在做的是希望我们去开拓一个全新的智能家居的领域。那对于整个市场来说，我们所做的事情都是全新的。
自有品牌这块业务，也就是你们公司旗下 OBM 的这块业务，在发展过程当中，您最大的担忧是什么？
对于我们来说呢，其实我觉得不仅是我们的担忧，可能是任何一个刚开始去做自己品牌的公司，它都会有一个担忧，因为传统的，当你不去做自己品牌的时候，你去纯粹的去拿到一些品牌公司给你一些 brief， 给你一些 order， 你去做定制、去做生产的时候，你不用去考虑太多，我不用考虑怎么去跟消费者沟通，不用考虑怎么样消费者去接受我的产品。但是作为一个品牌公司来说，我等于是要运作整个全产品的生命周期，从产品的规划前，我就要去考虑这个市场上什么样的产品是让消费者感兴趣的，什么样的技术是能够有一些这个领先的。然后包括说现在越来越讲究的专利，讲究的这个各种各样的什么 ID 的造型啊 ，ID 的奖项啊等等，这些都是要我们要去考虑。那当我们去真正的去生产这个产品，然后要推出它的时候，我还要去考虑我怎么样去树立我的品牌形象在消费者的心目中，这些都是我们需要去考虑的。当然，另外一块就是我们想去做自己的品牌，那我们是希望它能够是一个长青的这个品牌一样，能够一直的延续下去，能够占领消费者的心智，能够让消费者、让市场去认可我、接受我。这个我觉得是传统的 OEM 公司它不用去担心的事情，但是对于一个要建立品牌的公司来说，这是它需要去考虑，也是它最大的一个挑战。
中国这种大环境下，包括我们的政策也好，包括这个大的环境，OEM 公司转型到 OBM 公司有什么样的挑战或者说是优势？
作为一个 OEM 公司呢，其实它原先有很多的技术积累，因为所谓的 OEM 是英文讲就是 Original Equipment Manufacturer， 它其实是去帮别人去做代工的生产。那比如说一些原有的品牌厂商，我给到你一些这个 order， 或者给你一些想法，你去帮他去实现，去做出来就 OK 了。那他在这种过程中，他积累了大量的生产经验以及研发的经验。 它有这样的一个坚实的基础。那对于 OBM 公司呢，我在这个基础上，我就要去考虑怎么样去把我的品牌去 launch 出来，怎么样让我的产品真正的去适应于消费者。就是它可能跟我传统的 OEM 公司不同的是，我要更多的去考虑我的目标受众，我的消费群体是哪些人，然后在这个基础上，我去塑造我的品牌形象。
所以之前在一条这个生产的这个环节当中，可能它占了一个环节，那么现在的话，它应该是整条链条都要促成。
对。
现在我们谈一谈这个 OEM 公司的利润率，像这样的代工厂啊、加工厂，他们的利润率现在呈一个什么样的趋势？
我觉得它应该是逐渐降低的一个趋势，因为在之前呢，中国的劳动力的成本是比较相对于其他国家来说是很低的，所以说也会产生大量的就是原始的这种 OEM 公司，包括说类似于之前的中兴啊、华为啊，他们都是这种公司出来的，然后他会利用这个劳动成本来抢占大量的市场份额，然后这个积累作为原始的积累。那么现在随着中国经济的发展，人力的成本，以及说还有一些专利的技术，以及说这个我自己的要去做一些研发等等，这些成本都越来越高。实际上平摊到整个生产的过程中，这个利润也会越来越低。所以现在很多大的品牌公司，它有可能会去找类似于印度或者是其他的地方来代替中国。所以中国在很多年前才会提出来说，从中国所谓的制造向 smart 这个制造方向去转变，就是因为这个利润在越来越少。
现在中国大趋势就是从由中国制造转向中国的自主品牌这样一个趋势哈。您对这个趋势怎么看？
我觉得这是一个很好的趋势，因为中国制造它很难去延续下去，很难去活得长久。只有向自主品牌去转变，我建立自己的品牌形象，我才能够去跟消费者去做沟通，去让这个公司一直延展下去。另外一个，我觉得从整个的大的经济环境下，因为你要去建立自主的品牌，所以说你会更多的考虑自己的一些知识产权，以及自己的一些研发的这个专利，包括说去考虑真正的这个市场它需要的是什么，这样会无形中也会推动整个中国的企业向一个更好的层面去发展。
好 ，Ian， 非常感谢今天您能来我们的演播室。
OK， 谢谢。
Let's take a quick break, then we'll hear from Viveka Chen, CEO of We Marketing Group, about how to build Chinese brands.
What I think is great about Thoughtful China is it takes a market that is as complex, as dynamic, and as ever-changing as China, and it helps put things in context. Great speakers, great topics, great debates that help people learn, understand, and get a point of view on China that they might not have from other sources.
Manufacturers today are always talking about transformation, upgrading, uplifting OEMs to OBMs. Unfortunately, there are very few successful examples. OEMs may be willing to create new separate divisions, new companies, hire marketing experts, consultants, advertising companies to help them, etc. However, there still remains two key obstacles: company culture and channel access. Because the fundamental factors that makes OEM successful tend to be quite the opposite of what is required to build successful brands. For example, OEMs really love their products, they really have passion. But at the same time, it makes it very difficult for them to see it from the eyes of the consumer. They are very good in cost control, but then very cautious to invest in building brands. They are very used to tangibles, but very hard for them to understand and measure intangibles, particularly emotional benefits. They plan to play safe, but then less quick and less opportunistic. So this mindset change is important, but it's also very difficult because we know how hard it is to change old habits. I find that successful OBMs share some common characteristics. First of all, they are able to leverage on their heritage. That is, what have made them successful as an OEM and their core competence. But at the same time, they target new segments, they create new markets. They were also able to be the first to ride on upcoming trends. For example, VTech was the first to capture on all these games and technology for children. So they were able to create all these educational toys quite many years ago. A new brand called Soundfreak was founded in 2008 from original OEM, and they were the first one to be able to recognize the trend towards mobile or these hi-fis, but using Bluetooth technology. So offering very good quality, sound quality, but at the same time, very value for money pricing and excellent design using ex-Apple designers. Very often, they are led by second-generation leaders who may be even their sons and daughters or members in the company that they trust. But people with new thinking, people who spend a lot of time understanding consumer lifestyle, who are design-centric, and always looking towards the future. The other obstacle is channel access. It is hard for new brands to compete with established ones and particularly penetrate traditional channels. But now there's e-commerce, there's mobile, there's O2O, new purchasing habits. So OBMs do really have all the opportunity to be able to actually win and even exceed in these new business models and new channels. Because actually big companies tend to be slow in changing. But again, all this requires internet mindset, internet thinking. So in summary, I think the empires of tomorrow are the empires of the mind. So it's all about mindset and leadership change.
Thanks, Vivica. We're back in our studio today with Tessa Feenstra, a senior brand consultant at BSUR, Benoit Garb, managing director and senior partner for Greater China, Africa, Middle East, and Asia Pacific at Millward Brown Vermeer, and Alexis Carville, owner of the Tree Labs brand here in China. Welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First question, what do you think are the biggest differences between OEMs today compared to 30 years ago?
The difference is government involvement with manufacturing. But since before 1999, the main thing was that you had to go to the government trading agencies, CEIC, if I remember correctly. And so everything had to go to the government, right? After 1999, the old factories started to have an export license. So then they start to have more contact, getting in touch with the customer overseas and things like that. And the CEIC agent started their own factories as well. So that's the two main difference between then and now.
OEM companies, they first were like the manufacturers of the world in China. So they mostly only produced and they didn't have their own brand. Whereas now, like 30 years later, and they are really starting to get into the understanding that they need to create their own brand to have their own uniqueness.
I see three changes or drivers of the change. One is a new consumer landscape. Two, change in government emphasis. And three, I think a new sense of pride and ambition. So the consumer part, I think everyone knows, a more sophisticated consumer, more urban, and much more aware of brands. So they want to make choice, so they expect brands, right? Government, I think we talked about it, a shift in policy to move into more innovation. But the most important one, interesting one, is I think a desire from many chairmen to play with the big players out there. And I think brand is a vehicle to drive change and really have a positive impact on China and Chinese consumers by building brands.
OEM companies are not satisfied with staying invisible anymore. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to, like you say, play with the bigger players. Let's talk about government policies that you mentioned earlier. What's the difference compared to 30 years ago to now?
Now there's less involvement, less controls over what companies do. And another thing is it happens because the barrier of communication. If you talk about 15 years ago, people didn't have the emails, and the people from overseas didn't come to China to do training. They were afraid to come to China. So a lot of barriers being broken up over time. So people come, you can get tourist visa easy, you come here, everybody come here. Then the Chinese now they can even go out as well. So opening of open-mindedness, you can see what's going on around the world. You can communicate with everybody very fast. And in terms of OEM, what changed a lot and what you can see even overseas is that the OEM now get to the end distribution. While before you had to go to agent, brand, and then the distribution. But now you get more and more where the distribution coming directly to the OEM. So the price shrink a lot, and all the people in the middle are being squeezed. So you have to make some choice. Either you stay in the business, you try to start a brand, or the factory start to try a brand, because the distributor today have their own brand as well.
So more open-minded and also more encouraging for OEM to become OBM companies.
The Chinese government starts to get noticed that Chinese manufacturers are not the most cost efficient anymore. So manufacturers are moving out of China to other places, to Vietnam, to Cambodia. So they need to build a landscape where the true manufacturers can have their own brand and can create. So they're actually promoting also the creative industry in a way by making new regulation to promote it and to make sure that the creative industry prospers.
From my point of view, the government could give a lot of incentives, monetary incentives, where if you apply for patents, if you develop a brand, for example, when I start in my brand, I get government pay for it as well. So like a lot of little things that you normally would pay, they will cover for you as long as you provide the document and everything. So they really encourage it, to that point, not just talk. Yes.
One key message I heard all of you is that OEM to OBM, that's a trend. It's going to happen, it's already happening. We talked about challenges, opportunity. Now let's talk strategy. What are some of the strategies you think OEM companies should adopt in the process of transformation into OBM companies?
It's about investing also in innovation, about staying on top and creating and looking at the needs of the consumer and creating a real true product which is suitable for them.
I think of a lot of the clients we worked in that transition, right, of brand-led business transformation. I've seen three common characteristics in successful strategy. One, it has to come from the chairman. It has to come from the top, because it's a drastic change that requires a drastic rethink of the organization. So starts from the top, chairman commitment. Number two, I think there is a need to be much more market-led and fact-based. I think a lot of companies have been very intuitive, very successful by trying things out. And I think in really understanding the consumer, who you're designing for, who your target is, and being fact-based, I think is very critical to the success of those companies. And then thirdly is acknowledging that there is a requirement to change the organization. So what we've seen is often it starts with engineer trying to do marketing, but I think a lot of chairmen understand that it's a professional skills. There is a requirement to put the brand at the center of the organization. So it's changing culture, putting new system in place, new tools to really make that transformation happen. Otherwise, you just have a head of communication, but that's not brand building.
Yeah, if you go OEM to OBM, it's two totally different things.
Sure. I just want to ask you, you started out as an OEM company,
yes,
and now
correct.
you're OBM.
Yes.
What are some of your major concerns right now?
Right now, my main concern, just to be clear, I still do OEM.
You still do it,
so OEM balance support my effort on the OBM. Okay. My main concern as a OBM is, for me, was to differentiate with what else is available on the market right now. So how do I differentiate myself? In terms of brand, is how do I make my image, basically? How do I create this image? So by differentiating different image, see what's on the market, how am I different from others? That's my main concern.
How are these concerns different from your OEM part of the business?
OEM is totally different. Is responding to the demand of customers, which is cost basis and quality based and shipping on time based. This is three keywords when you're OEM: price, shipping on time, and quality. That's it. So it's different. You have an image which is very unsubstantial and something which is very concrete. You can calculate with numbers. So it's quite different. Yeah.
Yeah. Any good examples that you want to share of a Chinese OBM going international?
Well, a good example is Xiaomi.
Xiaomi, yeah.
Yeah, Xiaomi is only 4 years old, and they already managed to conquer the Chinese market. So they are already outperforming Apple and Samsung, and they are now entering the Indian markets, the rest of Southeast Asia, South America. Another example is Senglet.
How does Xiaomi differentiate itself from Samsung and everybody else?
Well, they are really looking at the consumer, so they are very much into internet-based, and online they are asking their consumers for innovation tools, and so they are very much talking with the consumer in a way, and I think that is very much
Samsung is not doing that, right?
Well, they're more insight-driven innovation, I think, instead of consumer innovation.
Some brands also, interact with their fans in terms of hearing back the feedback. But I think Xiaomi really work on those feedback and incorporate that into their, brand development and also their products. What is the role of creative brand consultancies? How do they support this trend of China brands going global?
Well, first thing off is China is not used to making brands, right? So having brand consultancies mean you have foreigners which have experience developing brands who can explain and develop those ideas, because in China don't have this experience, right? So that's the main thing, is to bring this creativity. Again, I'm mentioning it, but how to differentiate and things like that. So try to show the way, basically. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah, we at BSGR, we think that creating a brand is really about engineering and creating it from the start. It takes a lot of months and a lot of efforts to create a brand which stands for something, which has a vision, which has a mission, which is being supported by the CEO and by the rest of the company. In that way, it's like creating a baby. It's just it takes time to nurture and to grow and to establish it. Therefore, you need international experience. What you see in Chinese OEMs is that they don't have the international mindset, so they are not aware of the needs of the international consumer. For instance, the American consumer. What are the insights? What are the needs? So is the portfolio right? In that sense, they need an international scope which can help them and create a brand which is suitable for the international market.
Yeah, what I'm wanting to say is where branding consultancy like MB Vermeer or many others, I think we can help make a case for change. Again, it's about changing the way, the mindset. So the more we can help senior executive understand the value of brand and really how it's going to impact business, I think that's the number one. And then it's really helping them on the what and the how, right? So what do we stand for as a brand, as an organization? What makes us different? And then the how do I deploy that within the organization? How do I organize myself to actually make it happen? So I think that's where best practices, framework can be very helpful.
And the OEM is not able to do that on its own. It's totally different. So we really need to have consultants.
Yeah. So for instance, the chairman saying, I need help to help my team change. Yes. Or what we see often is a CMO who came from a Unilever or PepsiCo. He has a big job to transform the business, but he's like, I need help because I'm by myself. Yeah. So usually those are the two cases for...
You need a teamwork, it's a full-time job, so it's not the CEO in his factory that's going to come up with all that. No, it's not possible.
But actually it needs like a good CEO who can... normally what you see here in China is that OEM companies have like a clear direction, because when the CEO says we go one way, then you go that way. So it has the China speed that OEMs companies can go quite quickly and can move quite quickly if they want to, as long as you have the commitment of
a visionary leader.
Of the visionary leader.
And can I make an observation? I think Chinese companies, OEMs or many Chinese companies, have an amazing opportunity in brand building. One is because they are very top down and things get really aligned very quickly. So if you think of building a brand and making sure that all your activities are very consistent and congruent, there is not a lot of debate. So when a decision is made, it's all about execution and consistency. So I think it's an amazing opportunity once you've nailed your brand proposition to really go and roll out.
I think one of the challenges for the Chinese companies is that they have the patience to be consistent in their strategy and to have long-term vision and to stick with it. And not to be too impatient to directly want to have the results by tomorrow, what used to be the old mindset.
Yes. Well, yeah, they like to go fast, but when things slow down because it's necessary, it can be tough, yeah.
Okay, Benoit, Tessa, and Alexi, thank you so much for being on Thoughtful China today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps it up for today. Be sure to subscribe to us on Youku, Tudo, and YouTube. You can also follow us on Weibo, WeChat, and Twitter, and join our LinkedIn group. See you again.